Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, we are going to discuss what is observability in DevOps. So let's understand. What is observability? So basically, observability is the ability to understand what's happening inside your system based on the data it generates. So if I talk about in simple words, so basically observability is the enhanced version of monitoring. It will basically identify the internal state of your system or of your application based on the output, like your logs, your could be your metrics, your real-time traces, which basically help us to identify the real-time inside of the application or the systems. So suppose if imagine if you are driving a car, you have a speedometer, you have a fuel gauge, and you have an engine indicator that will tell you how your car is performing. And similarly in DevOps, we have observability, which basically help us to monitor the application performance. If in case if application is facing any issues, then we can quickly troubleshoot the issues and we can improve the performance overall performance of the application. So this is what basically observability does in a DevOps. So it consists basically three main pillars. So in observability we have three pillars. The very first is logs, second is metrics, and third is stress. So log is something basically provide a detailed record of event, offering basically insights or into a specific occurrence, like what is happening basically. So the logs we will get it, the very first thing. Second, we get a a metrics, which is a numerical data showing your system performance, like how much your system or your application consuming CPU, what's the response time when you are clicking on any of the pages or any of the tab, then how much time it's taking. All those metrics we will get it. Third, it is a trace. So trace is basically a journey of a request across different services. For example, if you are going from the if you are login your application, then it is going to the login screen or login page. Then the all the request which is going from front end to back end, all the traces basically you can check and you can see what is happening on each event or each request which you are basically giving an input to the system. So everything you can trace. So with the help of these three main pillars, we can identify the problem, we can troubleshoot the problem, and we can improve the performance of our applications. This is what basically observability does. Now the point is, why is observability important in DevOps? Obviously, if I talk about in traditional monitoring, we basically check predefined rules. Like if suppose if we are using any of the monitoring tool, then we define certain rules, and based on that we will identify or we will observe our application. But if we talk about observability, it goes beyond that, because it also collect the log, it collect the metrics, and it collect all the traces, whatever the request you are basically putting or giving your input to the system, everything you can trace. So it will help us to quickly identify, okay, in which request my application is not performing well or which request it is failing. So it is very easy to identify. So the very first thing why we needed observability in DevOps, quickly identifying and fixing system failures. Second, improving performance and user experience, because observability provide you a real-time user input, basically like user request which you are basically asking or you are inserting or you are putting your input in a system. Everything you can trace it or you can monitor it. Third point is reducing downtime and ensuring smooth deployment. If you will quickly identify the problem, or if you quickly identify uh, the issue basically, then obviously your application downtime will be low and your deployment will be smoother. Now for example, if your website is slow, logs what logs can do, logs can show you the errors. Metrics can indicate like the percentage of CPUs or RAM, and the traces can tell you where the request is getting delayed, so you can quickly go to that particular trace and you can fix it. That's the power of observability. Now if I talk about the tools, which are what are the tools available for in DevOps for observability. So the very first tool we have here, Prometheus. which is basically metrics collection and monitoring. Then we have a Grafana, then we have ELK stack, then we have a Jagger for distributed trashing. Then we have a Azure monitor if you are using Azure cloud. If you are using AWS, then we have AWS CloudWatch, Datadog, and New Relic. These are the cloud based observability solution. Now there is one more another platform we have called Middleware. Basically, so basically Middleware is a full stack cloud observability platform that collects all the telemetry data from front end to back end, and it's basically designed for developers, or it designed to empower developers and organization to monitor, optimize, and streamline their application and infrastructure solutions. So middleware is a very interesting tool. If I talk about the features, product feature of middleware, then we can, what we can do with middleware. So we can do a infrastructure monitoring, we can do application performance monitoring, we can do serverless monitoring, we can do container monitorings. If you are running your application, or if on a Kubernetes, then definitely you can monitor everything. This is what basically we are going to do a hands-on on middleware platform. So what we are going to do, we are going to spin up a Azure Kubernetes cluster on Azure cloud. Then we are going to install middleware agent on your AKS cluster. Then we will see how basically it detect all the, like your pods, your namespaces, like all the systems. So basically it will what will you say, it will basically monitor or observe for you. So, and one more thing, the middleware, if you are using a middleware platform, they will provide you a 24/7 global support with a dedicated expert. So let me quickly go to my Azure portal. So what we are going to do, basically we are going to create a Kubernetes cluster here, and on the Kubernetes cluster we are going to install a middleware agent. I'll come to the middleware platform as well. Let me first spin up a Kubernetes cluster because it will take couple of minutes. So let me choose my resource group, and I will provide the name here, sample AKS, and I don't want any availability zones, so most of the things I am keeping default. So let me change the node count because we don't need a 2 to 5 node here, and also we don't need any availability zone. Let me put here number 1 and 2, and let me change the size as well. So we will go for okay, we will go for development or test one, A series one. So let me select this one. Rest all the fields I'm keeping it default. I don't want many monitoring for now because we are going to use a middleware. Let me review and create. Okay, so it will take couple of minutes. Let me go to the middleware platform. So if you see, this is something called a UI of middleware. So if I'll go to home tab, you can see a lot of services here. And so for that, basically what you have to do, you have to go and sign up with your account, your Google account or your organization account, whatever you are using. From that, basically you can sign up on this middleware platform, and here you can see a lot of services. If I'll come to this particular part, this is for infrastructure monitoring. So here, if you have your virtual machines and all that, you can monitor it. If you have containers, if you're using Docker and all, you can do that also. If I'll talk about Kubernetes part, we have a clusters here, so we can monitor our cluster, the performance of the cluster, how it is behaving. If we talk about node, how many nodes are up and running, all those things basically we can monitor with this simple platform. Then we have a feature called namespace. So here we can see all the namespaces which we have in our AKS clusters. Then we can see the list of pods which is running inside our AKS cluster. So all these things basically we can check, or we can basically monitor from this middleware platform. And if I'll come to this particular part, this is the APM feature here. So from here basically you can monitor your application performance. And if I'll come to logs part here, so you can check all the logs, all the crashes here, like based on the services which you are using. If you are using Docker, or if you are using a Kubernetes, if you are using any web applications, all those things basically you can uh, monitor from here itself. And there is one more thing, you can create your own dashboard as well based on the services which you are using. And here we have called real user monitoring as well, which is called rum. So that also you can configure from here. And then we have a LLM observability. So there are a lot of features on this middleware platform which help you to identify, or which basically help us to enable the monitoring or observability of your application or of your infrastructure. So most of the things you can do with the help of middleware platform basically. Let me go back to my AKS cluster. Okay, it's still running. Let's wait couple of minutes. And here you can also integrate your Azure cloud, or if you are using AWS, everything you can integrate with your with the help of your service principals. And also from the single platform you can manage multiple cloud provider as well. So for example, if I'll go to, let me go to infrastructure. For example, I'll go to Azure one. Okay. Okay, so if I'll go to Azure here, so you can see here, if you want to register your middleware with your Azure cloud, you have to just provide your subscription ID, tenant ID, client ID, and client secrets, and you can save the details, and then you can monitor all your Azure resources from here itself. Let me close this. Okay, so it's still running. Let's wait couple of minutes. So our AKS deployment is completed. Let me go to resources. Now we need to add our AKS cluster in middleware platform. For that, what you have to do basically, let me go to Kubernetes. So they have already provided a step-by-step instructions which you have to follow basically. So what you have to do simply, you have to you have to give a name of your AKS cluster, and you have to run this particular script on your AKS cluster. So this will basically automatically install the middleware agent inside your AKS cluster. So let me do that. So let me put my AKS cluster name, which is sample AKS. So you can see the name is automatically changed here. If I'll go to my AKS cluster, let me click on connect. And if I'll go to here, run command. So now what you have to do, you have to just simply copy the complete script from here after changing your cluster name, and you have to simply run the script. Let me minimize the screen. Okay, so it will take at least 2 to 3 minutes to install this particular agent. So once the middleware agent will be installed, you will get a status here deployed, and it will create their own namespace, which is mw-agent-ns. So this is the namespace will be created inside your AKS cluster, and the status is deployed here. So it means your middleware agent successfully installed on your AKS cluster. So let me go to here and let me refresh it, because it will take couple of minutes. Okay, here it's not coming. Let's wait couple of minutes. Let me go to home tab. Sorry, if I go to infrastructure cluster. Okay, no data found. Let's wait, because initially when you install a middleware agent, it will take couple of minutes because it will initialize and then it will install the pod of middleware agent as well. So now you can see here we got our sample AKS cluster which we have created inside Azure portal, and here you can see a node count is 1, CPU usage is 50.5%, memory usage you can see here, you can see here pod status like 20 pod is running, and for one basically it's showing it's failed basically one pod, and 22 total 22 pod. So if I'll come to a pod part here, so you can see all list of pods. Let me close this. So you can see all the pods which is running inside your AKS cluster. So if I'll come to a middleware agent part, you can see the middleware agent pod is also running. So from here basically you can monitor each and everything what is happening inside your AKS cluster. So if I'll come to a network part, okay, so we have not created any services. Okay, by default it is all automatically created a services node port and cluster IP, which is for internal uses. This is fine. If you are deploying your applications and you are creating a services, so those services you can monitor from here itself. So you can see the IP addresses as well. And if you need a more detail about inside of anything, you have to just simply go to that particular pod or services. You can see most of the things. You can see a pods, you can see events as well. So here it's not showing any events, so it will take a couple of minutes to fetch the details from your AKS cluster. So again, so basically middleware is a full stack cloud observability platform which is designed basically for developer and organization to monitor and optimize their application and infrastructure as well. So all the real-time data you can see within the middleware platform. So I hope it's clear what is observability. So that's all for today. See you next video. Thank you so much.